from the University Courthouse, where the man responsible for the Yonge Street van attack has been sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years. And he learned his fate after court spent the day hearing the harrowing accounts of dozens of people who described their pain and anger in the aftermath of that horrific 2018 attack in victim impact statements. These are the faces of the 8 women and 2 men killed in one of Canada's worst acts of mass murder. Since then, another victim also died. Today, their loved ones had the difficult task of addressing the court and the man responsible for the deliberate and violent killings.
He's in there today. It's very difficult to be saying those words in front of him. But it was necessary.
Michelle Kelman was almost hit. She was on a coffee run and watched as her friend and co-worker Andrea Bradden was murdered.
It haunts everybody in there. Their life will never be the same. But this hopefully provides some sort of closure as best as it can.
Hanan Najjar's father Munir was visiting from Jordan. She told the court, quote, "At a time where we were planning things to do and explore in Toronto, we ended up planning for a funeral thousands of miles away." Of her friend Sohee Chung, Diane Sullivan says, "I can only tell you that personally I will never be the same because this little girl no longer walks this earth." Betty Forsyth would have been 99. Her nephew Robert says, "I couldn't write enough pages to convey the shock, anger, grief, sadness, and fear we experienced as a result of this murder." Anne-Marie D'Amico's mother told the man who murdered her daughter, "My life was completely balanced before you took Anne-Marie away from me. But here we are 3 years later and I'm still struggling to continue living and to find my new normal without her." Amaresh Tesfamariam spent over 3.5 years fighting for her life in hospital before she died from injuries suffered on the day of the attack. She was the glue that held her family together.
It's been torture. It's been really difficult for everyone. I think I think it's impossible to imagine fighting for your life for 3.5 years.
Then there was one 9-year-old who simply provided a crayon drawing, 2 people holding hands. It's of him and his mom, Renuka Amarasingha, also killed. Civilian first responders who tried to help victims spoke of survivors' guilt, the sleepless nights, and the trauma they face in their day-to-day life.
There's lingering effects that don't just go away. It's in everything that you do every day. It's always present. It's always ready to erupt. Just a color. One of the victims had a very bright jacket tied around her waist, and that color always reminds me of her.
Alec Manassian was found guilty last year of 10 counts of first-degree murder and 16 counts of attempted murder. Sentencing was delayed to await a Supreme Court of Canada decision on a law about sentencing multiple murders. And that man responsible for the attack remained motionless in court. He oftentimes sat hunched over, making little to no eye contact, and at times fidgeting with his hands and fingers. And following the victim impact statements, he was asked by the judge if he wanted to say anything to the court. He said he did not.